Pike County investigators say a man accused of killing 3 people in D-Light over the weekend may have been distraught over a custody issue.
The explosion was so powerful, the doors to this building were blown apart and the roof, once flat, is now bowed.
However, we will have another update for you coming up in sports.
And I got another update for you, Robert.
Let me
Texas
know.
A&M 7-0 now.
That's not news we want to hear right now.
In Arkansas, a car like this one with more than 70% damage that most people would consider a total loss can actually be given a clean title. Why? It's more than 7 years old.
Absolutely. I called the governor's office immediately afterwards and ended up having to break the news to them. Now, the governor had no idea that the lieutenant governor would resign today. And Dar hints at this in his statement saying, quote, "I submit that resignation to the people of Arkansas, not to an elected official." What we understand right now, the female victim is a Parkview student. She was inside for graduation practice, had walked out to her vehicle. That's when she spotted someone that the police believe she knew. We're learning more about the dramatic rescue of an autistic teen missing for more than a day in the Ozark National Forest. Last night, we told you rescuers found 18-year-old Jay Greer Jr. around 7 p.m. And we know now it took another 8 hours to bring him out of the National Forest into safety.
There were no explosives inside, just a bunch of personal items, but even so, the dogs continue to key in on that piece of luggage. So now the FBI, the TSA, and the bomb squad are all taking samples.
But Janelle, it's going to warm up into the 40s by Thursday and Friday.
Woo,
It's going to be like,
thought I'd see the day when the 40s are exciting.
Miami Beach, here we come.
I know, might have to break out the sunscreen at that point.
We're going to be so acclimated to this garbage.
Absolutely. Well, we have the second hour of Saturday Daybreak when we come back, and it's starting off with some traffic trouble. Stay with us. 7-year-old Trenton Williams has cystic fibrosis. It's a disease that not only shortens the lives of its victims, but also threatens them. Every school day for the last 2 years, Trenton was placed in the care of a woman known as Suzanne Pitts, a woman Trenton and his mom Rachel trusted with a precious life, and a woman who, despite the licenses hanging on her office wall, was not a nurse.
Well, I'm just ready to ride this. I ride my bike. And I play on fishing and hunting with my friend.
At first glance, 7-year-old Trenton is a typical boy, but if you spend some time with him, you'll see all he has to do to seem typical. Trenton has cystic fibrosis. He was diagnosed just 1 day after he was born, facing stomach and bowel resections. In the 7 years since, his stays at Children's have been frequent.
It changed our lives forever.
Normal things like the first day of kindergarten called into question. Was it safe? Who would supervise his treatments?
She was a great person. I mean, she really was. She cared about Trenton. She seemed to care about his treatment.
And in return, Rachel Williams and her son Trenton cared about Miss Pitts, even changing school districts to stay with her. But no one knew Pitts was really Suzanne Johnson, with a lengthy criminal past, including practicing medicine without a license in Florida in 1989 and in Tennessee in 1990. After 6 years at Sidney Diener, she's facing those charges again.
She lied to parents. She lied to me. She lied to Trenton, who was in tears because that was his friend.
And the caregiver to a child battling a dangerous disease.
The medicine he has to have every day, she's administered that. He has to have sometimes 4 breathing treatments a day with airway clearance, a vest machine that shakes the mucus out, closely monitored and everything.
Rachel also trusted the school, but when we called previous employers listed on Johnson's resume, we quickly discovered several errors. She was fired from one place for not having a nursing license and subbed at Bradford for a day, not a year.
Complete neglect. I mean, that person is to take care of how many kids? A whole school, and you don't call a reference? Or you call a reference and ignore it? It takes how long to put a license number in the computer?
Rachel spoke to the school superintendent today to find out what can be done about her child's medical forms that are no longer valid.
What did Miss Barrett say to that?
That she's still employed, that it's fine. We would discuss that later. We're not discussing. No.
A lot of parents are upset about this. The school district denied our request for an interview regarding their hiring practices. Christina? Jury deliberations continue today in the federal court case against a former Little Rock police officer accused of using his police vehicle to escort a van filled with marijuana to a storage facility in Little Rock. The jury deliberated for 4 hours before telling Judge James Moody they had not reached a unanimous verdict on any of the 4 counts against Randall Robinson. Judge Moody sent the jurors home yesterday evening and ordered them to be back at the courthouse at 9 o'clock this morning. 20 handguns are in the hands of a suspect who stole them from a gun store in Searcy. The store owner of Target Ultimate Outdoors believed that the suspect went to the store during business hours Tuesday, saw what he wanted, and then returned the following morning around 2. The security video has not yet been released, but the owner, John Key, gave us a play-by-play of what it shows. He says the motion detector worked, but the suspect moved fast and left within a minute of entering the store with only handguns, no shotguns or bullets. Still no arrests have been made from a marijuana drug bust inside a Pulaski County home. An anonymous tip prompted the Sheriff's Department to serve a search warrant at a house on Carla Lane. Authorities called it a sophisticated operation to grow the plant. The suspects even put sheetrock over the window and some doors. No one lived inside the home, but authorities say the more than 300 marijuana plants recovered have a street value of $100,000. A bird on a wire caused a power outage and shocked a driver in Texarkana. Jerry Cunningham says that he headed down the road in Texarkana when something hit his car, cracked the windshield, and then sent sparks flying. About 1,200 customers were out of power for about an hour. More than 1,000 kids are expected to take part in a fishing derby in downtown Little Rock this morning. The Game and Fish Commission has stocked the pond at MacArthur Park with a limited number of prize fish. The first girl and boy to catch one of those tagged fish will win a bike. The derby is open to kids from 6 to 15 years old, and only cane pulls are allowed. The derby takes place between 9:30 and 12:30 today. Still to come, we're going to have the latest in business news from ABC, including good news for college students with student loans.
Go get the paper.
Big Jake Cotton isn't your typical house pet.
Thank you so much.
For starters, his house is a state prison, and his trainers are inmates. Pam Shellnut is serving 14 years.
I just completed my 7th year here, as on Sunday was my 7-year anniversary, and it was really hard. And having Jake to hold all day and to love, and just, that's awesome. It was amazing.
Big Jake was adopted from a kill shelter, trading his life in a cage for some time behind bars. Andrea currently runs the Paws in Prison program. The dogs live in the cells with the inmates, and every week Andrea comes to train the inmates in the art of training dogs. She chooses only dogs from kill shelters for the program, saving the dog's life and giving meaning to the inmates.
We find dogs that people are throwing away and bring them in here and train them, and they go out and help people.
People like Allison Lewis, who Big Jake will live with once he completes his training. That brings us to one more thing that makes Big Jake special, this trick. This is the first time he's ever done this trick. Seeing it happen overwhelms Allison with gratitude. You see, Big Jake Cotton is training to be a service dog. Allison suffers from seizures and heart trouble. She knows this alert button and Big Jake could one day save her life.
He is a gift from God.
This moment means as much to Allison as it does to Big Jake's trainers, Miranda and Pam.
It changes everything about my prison sentence.
When it comes down to it, Paws in Prison isn't about training dogs, redeeming lives. A dog's life saved, an owner's life made safer, and an inmate's life changed for the better.
It can never make amends for the things we've done wrong, but at least it's a start.
You want some warmer weather? I don't really have much, but I'll see what I can do for you in the 7-day forecast in a few minutes.
Way to get our hopes up there, Todd. Thank you.
You bet.
Roads are covered in a thick ice, and several thousand Arkansans are still without power this morning. Arkansas is one of many states under a state of emergency. Officials are advising people to stay off the icy and snow-covered road this weekend, but many drivers are still chancing it, and that means big business for tow truck operators. Slick roads are sending dozens of vehicles into the ditch, and towing companies are doing their best best to pull people out. Daryl Meeks drives a tow truck in Bentonville and says that winter weather can catch anyone off guard. If you're thinking about testing the roads this morning, you might want to wait. Coming up at 8:20, Marine's going to give us a live update on road conditions and what we can expect today. Central Arkansas Transit Authority says they will begin on a delayed schedule starting at 9 a.m. this morning, weather permitting. The holiday lighting ceremony at the Arkansas State Capitol is canceled because of wintry weather. Secretary of State Mark Martin's office said Friday that they will still turn the Christmas lights on at the Capitol tonight, but there won't be a lighting ceremony. Martin's office says the annual Pearl Harbor Remembrance Ceremony is also canceled. Now, there are several events that have been canceled because of weather, and for a complete list of all of those closings and cancellations, as well as road conditions and the latest KATV's weather forecast, go to KATV.com. And before we go to break, a Secret Santa has brightened the holidays for the Salvation Army in Joplin, Missouri again. For the 8th year in a row, $50,000 has been dropped in a red kettle. He or she wraps the check in dollar bills so they aren't detected until the bucket is opened. 900 families in the area are in need of assistance, so the money will certainly be put to good use. What a great Samaritan there. Coming up, we're going to get a traffic update from Randy Ort of the Arkansas Highway Department and find out if those roads are safe to travel yet. Here in Amity, you can see the damage that was done. Let me step out of the way. A trailer used to sit on these blocks. Look how far the winds picked it up. It was a tornado, and inside was a pregnant mom of 4 other kids. She took shelter in the bathroom, able to keep them all safe. Residents tell me the trailer actually flipped end over end.
I looked out my front window and I could see it coming over the back hill. Grabbed us all and put us in the middle bathroom and grabbed a toddler bed off my son's bed and put it over top of us, and it took about 2 minutes and the trailer started flipping.
With the tornado coming straight towards her and 4 young children, Brittany Singleton didn't panic or worry. She simply acted.
Just mom mode, just get the kids and get them safe.
Her quick decision possibly saving the lives of her 2 boys, her nephews, and her unborn child.
I told them just to hold on to each other, and the boys, they like to pray a lot, and we all said a big prayer and asked God to take care of us and just held on to each other as tight as we could.
As they huddled together, a tornado picked up the trailer, rolling it and dropped it more than 30 feet from the foundation. All 5 of them climbing out with only small cuts and bruises, and a story they'll never forget.
Tell her what got y'all.
A tornado.
In Amity, Janelle Lilly, Channel 7 News. Just minutes ago, we learned that Lieutenant Governor Mark Dar will resign. The embattled politician came under fire from folks on both sides of the aisle after an ethics commission found him guilty of violations and fined him $11,000. Now, today, the lieutenant governor handed in his resignation to Speaker of the House Davy Carter and Senate pro tempore Michael Lamoureux. He released a statement to the media which reads in part that, quote, politics can be a toxic business. I will no longer subject my family to its hard lessons. All of my forgiveness to those who play the games, and all my respect and appreciation to those who serve with class and humility. Now, the resignation will be effective February 1st, and you can read the full statement online at KATV.com. We are expecting reaction from the governor. He had not heard of the resignation when we called him just minutes ago, so tune in tonight on Nightside. We expect reaction from him and from folks on both sides of the political aisle.